Fox 2 presents Hancock and Kelly.
Hancock and Kelly on Fox 2, where we take on the top issues of the week. On the right, John Hancock.
Top of the morning.
On the left, Michael Kelly.
Happy Sunday.
And I'm Andy Banker. On the agenda this morning, the rise of the write-in candidates and the fall of right-wing school board candidates in Tuesday's local elections. Democrats go all in on the abortion issue for the November elections. Can red states turn blue? Florida, maybe Missouri too? Israel admits fault for a bombing that killed aid workers in Gaza as a rift between President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gets wider. Also, is independent presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr. fanning the flames of January 6th? It is our quote of the week. Plus, keeping up with former President Trump's courtroom battles and a big endorsement in a key Missouri congressional race, if we got time to get to that one. We begin with U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland taking note of violent crime in St. Louis and pledging to do something about it.
I want to be very clear about something. There is no acceptable level of violent crime. Too many communities are still struggling, and too many people are still scared. The hard-fought progress we saw last year can easily slip away. So we must remain focused and vigilant.
He's in Chicago. Garland announced that St. Louis, Jackson, Mississippi, and Hartford, Connecticut will be part of the Justice Department's Violent Crime Initiative, which he says has gotten great results in Houston and Memphis. The initiative brings a surge of federal law enforcement resources to target violent groups and gangs. St. Louis Mayor Tishaura Jones says she welcomes the help, but points out the city's homicide rate has been falling. That rate, however, has continued to register among the worst in 50 years for all 3 years of her first term in St. Louis. First the Missouri legislature, now the U.S. attorney saying loudly, John, something's got to be done about crime in St. Louis.
Well, it does, and this
Attorney
is
General of the United States.
This is a welcome development, because when you begin to amass these federal resources and federal law enforcement officials and bring them to the table in dealing with the crime, getting into the gangs. You know, we've got a very good, effective strike force operating in St. Louis County that includes all of these federal agencies. The city, not much of a participant in that. I don't understand the reason for that, but this is welcome news for the feds coming in, and it acknowledges the fact that we've got a very serious, violent crime problem in this town.
A Democrat-appointed attorney general saying, St. Louis, here comes help, but the Democrats that run the city aren't even asking for it.
That's the key question, though. This doesn't add up, right? For the past year and a half, we've been hearing from the mayor and the board of aldermen, the police chief, whenever he shows up, saying, look, things are getting better. Crime's going down in St. Louis. No. The federal government is acknowledging that the crime policies are not working in St. Louis, and we've got a long-term problem. Yes, this is a welcome development that the feds are going to come in and do the job, that basic government services that should be being done by the city. I'm grateful that they're doing it, but I don't think voters should lose the fact that they've been getting lied to for about a year and a half, being told things are getting better, but even the feds are saying, no, this ain't adding up.
Well, and here's the other thing that's going on in St. Louis is they're playing, games with the crime statistics. You can't get accurate crime statistics out of them. They don't categorize it by block the way they used to. A lot of the justifiable homicides, where there's self-defense, are not being categorized as homicides when they're homicides. It's gang activity and related things like that. So there's a lot of smoke and a lot of mirrors going on. The reality is the crime problem is real and it's serious.
A lot of big news out of Tuesday's local elections. May not have been on many people's radars, but it was certainly on ours. The St. Louis County Board of Elections reports more than 20 write-in candidates won, including in the Maplewood mayor's race.
It shows that individual voters made a difference in this race. They went in and they actually had to write this man's name on a ballot, kind of like the old days. So I think it kind of speaks well.
Former Mayor Barry Greenberg, who considers himself a liberal, won in a landslide over current progressive mayor Nylan Knapper. Turnout was 34%, pretty high for a local race. But if that speaks well, this does not. Election board workers now have to hand count handwritten votes in 20 elections because no one actually filed to run in those elections. There were no names on any of the ballots. For instance, the apparent winner in a Manchester aldermanic race had just 2 votes. No one else got more than 1. Only 8 people voted total, Michael. Manchester is no fledgling municipality.
No, but it is also symptomatic of this messed up structure of government we have in St. Louis. We don't need all these municipalities. I know people identify with them, but there's evidence right there that it doesn't work.
What about this race in Maplewood?
Yeah.
The former mayor, when he started there like 15 years ago, he wasn't mayor, but he said, I was like the only liberal voice on this city council, board of aldermen, whatever.
Well,
and then he beats the socks off a progressive mayor because she's too far that way.
Well, and what's happened in Maplewood, which neighbors the city of St. Louis, it's been affected with the same progressive movement that's taking in the city. And by the way, it's pushing throughout the entire county, particularly the Central Park. What we saw this week, though, whether it be at the school boards or in local mayor's races, is voters saying, I've had enough with the extremes on both sides. The people who want to ban books and want to, decide that we ought not acknowledge that black people were oppressed in the past, thrown off of school boards. From a progressive standpoint, we're not going to do business development anymore. We're not going to give incentives to grow our communities. People have had it up to here with the extremes. I think this is a positive development. I would be nervous if I was an incumbent running for local government throughout this region right now, and I'm on one of the extremes.
We're going to get into the school board races in a moment here, but what do you think about the rise of the write-ins?
Well, if write-in candidates can win elections, maybe I ought to run for office again. Everybody can spell John Hancock. Feel free to write that in out there, folks. But it's indicative of the fact that a lot of people don't trust government, and there's a lot of people serving in local government that are out there, and that's unfortunate.
The heated school board races that Michael mentioned, especially in St. Charles County, brought more surprises, which allegedly brought a threat from a longtime member of the St. Charles County Council. A top election official accuses Councilman Joe Brazel of texting threats that election officials would end up in jail for their vote counting policies after conservative school board candidates lost key races in Wentzville, Francis Howell, and Fort Zumwalt districts, where issues from DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, also transgender students in education, the banning of sexually explicit books, those issues have been at the forefront. Brazel admitted to our partners at the Post-Dispatch that he did indeed send those text messages that were in question. Kurt Barr, the county's director of elections in St. Charles County, wrote a cease and desist letter to Brazel and demanded an apology, which Brazel says isn't going to happen. What about this, John, and the loss of conservatives in a conservative county on conservative issues?
Yeah, and look, there are cultural politics on both sides of this equation. There is an agenda on the left that's pushing a lot of things that a lot of people find offensive, and the corresponding reaction to that is a bunch of conservatives out there. It's folly to say that this is a one-sided politicization of school boards. It's happening on the left, and it's happening on the right. As to the election, I would encourage people that doubt the veracity of our elections to go take a tour of their local election board. Let them show you the safeguards that are in place. Let them show you how they have a bipartisan team that counts those ballots, that they then recount the ballots after every election to verify the results. There's a widespread and growing belief that there's widespread election fraud in the American electoral system. It does not exist, and belief that it does is harmful to the legitimacy of our government.
And all of these things are open to the public. The election board, you can take a tour.
Yes.
You can be there and watch them count if
Yes.
you like.
Right. Lots to unpack here. First of all, I know Joe Brazel. Knew him when he used to be kind of just a little off. Seems to be completely gone now. Let's be clear. Joe Brazel's a Republican. Kurt Barr's a Republican.
Right,
both I know
Republicans.
both of these folks. This is a symptomatic of this Donald Trump stuff. I didn't get my way, therefore I'm going to say it's rigged. And now you have Kurt Barr out there having to defend himself against a fellow Republican on doing his job the right way. And John's right. You can go and see it yourself. It's a nonsense argument that they have that elections are stolen. The other thing, though, that's happened here is, like I said, people are pushing back to extremes. And I don't think that spells well for Joe Brazel, because hopefully people are going to take note that this is extreme and come back at them. We're just sick of the nonsense. Educate our schools, pave our roads, pick up our trash. That's what voters want focused on. Candidates better learn this between now and November.
Well, we have this result from Kansas City. It's of great interest in St. Louis, even though it doesn't impact us directly. Voters resoundingly rejected extending stadium sales taxes to fund renovations of the Kansas City Chiefs Stadium and to help build a new ballpark for the Kansas City Royals. The proposals failed 58 to 42% combined. That's pretty big. There's been speculations that the teams may leave Kansas City proper after 2030 without new stadium deals. Michael, Chief stars Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce did ads asking voters to pass these taxes. Didn't do much good.
No, and it's unfortunate. I think that Kansas City's made a very calculated decision here that could bite them in the keister. I don't like the fact that we have to give money to these sports franchises. But if Stan Kroenke can go to LA, one of the biggest cities on the planet, and get incentives, and they get incentives in New York and in Chicago to build, if you're out here in flyover country, like St. Louis, like Kansas City, you have to make these investments. You may not like it, but what's more synonymous with the city of Kansas City right now than the Chiefs? And for the voters to turn their back on them, I think it's a short-sighted decision, and it could wind up biting them in the butt. Look where we're at today in St. Louis. We're out watching the Battlehawks rather than the NFL.
Doesn't he have St. Louis, Cleveland, Houston, Los Angeles, Baltimore.
So yes, I want to look at this more in a microscope. Okay, This was an April election, the lowest of turnouts. The campaign expended who knows how much money on paid advertising. This should have been a grassroots campaign. You've got how many season ticket holders for those Chiefs, and probably 15 or 20 that go to the Royals. But you worked this campaign on the ground in April. I think they made a fundamental mistake thinking they could airwave their way to a victory. It shouldn't have happened.
Up next on Hancock and Kelly, keeping up in court with Donald Trump. And President Biden gives Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu an ultimatum, with people in the U.S. now asking, whose side are we on in the Israel-Hamas war?